Yes, connection members. I like to begin the discussion with a Bible verse. The Bible verse that I will be reading is Romans 12, verse 2. And it reads, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. Yeah, man. So that's the Bible verse. So we can move into the discussion question now. All right, people. So the greatest struggle in life is the battle you fight in your mind. Yeah, man. There's always a battle in a people mind, and it is always good versus evil. So people, you know that our mind can be our worst enemy. So tell me, guys, how do we win this important battle in our mind? Yeah, man. Revolution time.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Kimone. I am, I'm in the UK at the moment, so it's like 2 a.m. here. So forgive me. Just a little bit of, yeah, I don't know how to put it, but just a little bit of clarity before I start. I do tend to speak really, really fast, especially when I get deep into something that I'm passionate about speaking about, which the topic is something I'm very passionate about. So do bear with me if you find that I'm speaking too fast. Can you please just let me know and I'll slow it down? I am Jamaican, but I'm really, really sorry. I don't speak my language. I'm super, super sorry. I do apologize, but I'm able to understand everything that is said to me or written in my language. So be happy to use whichever language you want to use, and I'll try my best to work with it. So if I'm going too fast, do let me know. I'll just jump right into it, yeah? Good evening and lovely to meet everyone here. Guys, I just want to say thank you to Romy for calling on me to talk about this evening. I'm hoping that we'll all engage and it'll be a good conversation. When we talk about the power of the mind, for me the first thing that comes to mind is the whole idea that it is so powerful that it can either break societies or it can build it. And the more we look at how we can build it, is the better we will become as a people, as human beings, as humanity, and as the world, in the sense that what we think affects what happens around us. What we don't think affects what happens around us. Yeah? And the power of the mind and how we can control it, for me, is how do we use our minds to do good in the world? And for a lot of people, it will be a simple thing, but if you sit and you think about it, if you think about it deeply, then you're able to understand that it goes beyond just this organ that's inside you, that's inside us as human beings. It goes beyond, you know, us having a conversation, us being able to do things with, it's dictating what we do with our bodies, it dictating what we say and what we don't say. It goes to the connection of your mind connecting to your soul. I know for a lot of people this will be different, but in my opinion, it's the connection of mind and soul in the sense that what your soul tells you to do, you're able to control your mind from that. So if good is inside of you as a person, then you're able to dictate to your mind that you want to do that good, yeah? And then from there, you're able to do that good because the mind now tells the rest of the body that this is what we're doing. Does that make sense? So I want to go out there, I want to help John build a house. The heart wants to do that, the soul wants to do that because it's a good thing to do. And then you're able to dictate to the mind that this is what you're going to be doing, and then you'll find that you get up Saturday morning and you're off to do it. Yeah? If I'm going too fast, guys, I'm very, very conscious of that. Do let me know. Now, what I want to focus on this evening is how we change negative thoughts into positive ones, and how we change the way our mind behave. Yeah, one of the things that Romy said was the whole idea of, you know, there might be good inside of you and you want to do it, but then the mind controls you so you don't get around to doing it. Yeah, and that is our negative thought taking precedence, which is not something that we want. As it's not something that we want as people, to be better human beings. That's not something that we really want. So how do we then get to a place where our mind doesn't betray us, our mind doesn't betray the good in us, our mind doesn't, you know, control our lives to the extent that we're not going to live fulfilled lives, in the sense that, I mean, I always say to people when I'm on my deathbed, I want to say that I've lived my life and I've done the things that I wanted to do. I've done all the charitable work that I've wanted to do. I've helped somebody to grow. I have grown myself. Yeah. So that is the aspect that I want to look at it from. How do we change negative thoughts into positive ones, and how do we control our negative beings or the negative side of ourselves and make it positive? Yeah, is that the right way to say it? I do think so. How do we take all that negativity and make it into? So I am going to call an Ave. If you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. That is something that I grew up on. I remember my dad teaching me this quote when I was like 6-7 years old. I am a dark-skinned woman, so a lot of my early upbringing had to do with, you know, learning about self and learning about the power of who I am as a person, who I am in the world, in my place in the world, and how my dad taught me a lot about how my own mind will dictate what happens to me in the world. Am I going to get an education? Am I going to soar to the heights that I want to soar to? How am I going to get all of that? And one of the quotes that he always reminded me of, and I've always remembered it. I've traveled the world and I've traveled with it in my heart, because as a child, it changed my perspective on life. My dark skin didn't matter. What mattered was, you know, how I was going to traverse the earth, how I was going to, you know, face things head on and ensure that I put forth confidence always, and then, you know, defeat life, in the sense that I don't want to like ruin life or whatever, but defeat all the challenges that come. As Jamaicans, we have a lot of challenges. We have challenges non-stop. I'm from a poor background. There were days when there was no food in my house and we had to figure it out. So a lot of our community go through that, where there's a lot of lack. And in that lack, we have to find a way out, no matter what we're going through. We go through death, we go through, you know, a lot of crime, we go through a lot of poverty, we go through a lot of things in our lives as Jamaicans. But then how do we not let that conquer us? How do we not, as people, let that be our narrative? What we're doing now as One Connection family, we're building houses together. We are helping each other as a unit, because in a sense, we are elevated in the sense that, and it's not to say that we are better than anybody, but we're elevated in the sense that we recognize that we have the power to make the change that we want to see. We have the power to be that change in the world. And by recognizing that, we've now taken up the role to say, okay, I'm going to do it. So for me, that quote by Garvey says that I've got to find the confidence to do what I have to do in the world, to do what I have to do to get by, and to make sure I leave the world a better place than I found it. And what that says to me is, it starts in the mind, in the sense that if you say that, okay, I want to graduate high school, we all have to go through high school in Jamaica, but I want to graduate high school and I want to get out with 8 CXC subjects. But then you are feeding your mind negative thoughts where, okay, you walk around the corner and you see Tom, John and Harry, every day their business is holding up guns. You know, you're feeding that to your mind constantly, and you're maybe you lust after it. Maybe you think, oh, but I want to be that powerful. I want to hold a gun in my hand to feel that powerful. And guys, do let me know if I'm touching on things that are too hectic for anybody, but it's the reality of our society. For me, it's like, you know, in the sense of, you see this happening. You see Terry down the street. She has a John Sport bag. You have your little no-name bag that you're carrying to school, and what that does for you is that you get jealous of her and you start thinking, oh, I would want to have that kind of bag. I would want to feel that powerful. We don't know if Terry feels powerful in that bag. If she might not actually like the bag, you know what I mean? But then we look at things at face value and we think that because we see different things a certain way, Terry might be doing things to get that bag. You see what I mean? Terry's mom might be doing things that we would never do, that our moms would never do to let us have that bag. But then we are in a position where jealousy steps in, and even though we have all these dreams, we want to get the HCXC subjects, we want to get out of the communities that we're born in, because it's not the type of communities that anybody should be raised in, anybody should have to live in. And you want that, but then you tell yourself that and you leave it there. You don't focus on it, you don't pay much attention. You just tell yourself that, okay, mommy says 8 CXCs, that's it. When the time comes, I'll get 8 CXCs. You go through, primary school. You go through primary school, you don't think much about the 8 CXCs because you're going to wait until you get to grade 12 to think about it. Yeah? You worry about John and Harry and whomever on the corner with their guns, and you're passing that every single day. And every single day you pass that, you feel the jealousy, you feel that you want to be in their position. What is happening with this is that is what you're feeding your mind. The mind needs food, and that is what you're feeding it. And by feeding it that, you're feeding it negativity. And when you feed your mind negative thoughts, it's going to latch on to everything negative. In our society, in the Jamaican society, one of the things that a lot of us, I know I'm very scared of it. I know it's one of the biggest challenges that I have with Jamaica as a country is the violence. Yeah, we are left up to be so violent because we go through a lot as a society. I've traveled the world and I've not seen it as bad in other places, but we go through so much and we have so much battling. So you find that while you are going through your life, you're seeing all of this around you. It's most of what you see, yeah? That's most of what your mind gets fed. You're not trying to go to church where there's a lot of positivity, at least you get fed that on Sunday. You're not joining any clubs where you're fed a lot of positivity, a lot of positive thinking. You're not surrounding yourself with a group of friends that are saying, listen, I know you're in grade 6, but let's start, focusing on the books. Let's start beating the books. Let's start focusing on the dream. Let's sit and talk about the dream. Let's sit and talk about how many cars we're going to buy when we're older, the fact that we're going to do honest jobs. You're not feeding your mind that. And because you're not doing that, then even though you have this dream of wanting that HCXC subjects and wanting to get on with your life, wanting all those cars, honestly, wanting that home for your family, honestly, wanting all of that, because you're not spending a lot of time focusing on it, what is happening is that you end up being in a position where none of that gets into the brain. None of that gets in there, and then it can't regurgitate any of that positivity. It can't say, okay, I promised Miss Sandra I was going to come this afternoon, but I'm not even going to bother to go because it doesn't matter, yeah? Your brain isn't going to say to you, but the honest thing to do is to show up, because you've got to worry about your integrity. You've got to worry about the fact that she's going to be there waiting for you, thinking that you're coming, and you're not going to show up, and how that is going to make you feel as a person. You're not going to feel bad because you don't have enough positive around you. I won't say inside of you, but rather around you to say, hang on a minute, it's not right. Does that make sense? It's not right to keep her waiting because she's probably dropped a million things to come see me. She's probably, didn't have bus fare and she borrowed some money to come see me. You're not able to stop and think because you can't see the bigger picture. Now, I hope that, we have an understanding of the building of negative thoughts. And I don't want to focus too much on that because I don't focus on negative thoughts because I genuinely do not have the passion for it. I live my life from a place of good, from a place of abundance, from a place of everything will work out, from a place of I can do absolutely anything I set my mind to. I live my life from a place of I can't focus on the negativity because it doesn't pay me, and because it doesn't pay me, I genuinely don't have time for it. And for a lot of people that might be a bad thing, but it really isn't. If you spend more time if you spend more time, focusing on what's good, if you spend more time looking around you, it can be a simple thing as walking through your neighborhood and saying, we've been focused on the fact that a lot of the houses don't have roofs. A lot of the families don't have food. We've been focusing so much on that instead of focusing on the fact that the grass is growing. The grass is there growing without us doing anything to it. The community doesn't have enough, but the grass is growing. The fruit trees are bearing fruits. Yeah. One of the things that I always say to people is that in Jamaica, we struggle, but we know how to survive because and we are blessed in the sense that God always looks out for us, because you'll be hungry. You'll have, my family was a family of 8. Yeah. We're 6 children, and you'd go for a walk, you're starving, you go for a walk, and there goes a tree that produces a fruit for you. If we can just look at those small things, if we can focus us on those small things that are like amazing, absolutely amazing, because God is so awesome that there's nothing He won't do. There's absolutely nothing God won't do for us. Yeah. So if we can focus on those small things, and instead of focusing on what we don't have, instead of focusing on the lack, instead of focusing on what we want to have, if we can focus on the positive things, if we can focus on the things that seems so we take for granted, and we really do take a lot of small things for granted, if we can focus on those things, then we're able to feed our mind positive thinking. We're able to feed our mind positivity. And with that, for me, your mindset starts to change without you even realizing. I'll make a testimony, and I share this because I am a very, very, very private person, but I feel like sometimes I don't testify enough, if that makes sense. And that I'm realizing as I'm getting older that that's not a good thing. I do praise my God. I stay in my house, I sit down, I praise my God, I talk to God. A lot of people have praying times, but my praying time is any time of the day, and my praying time is as many times as I want to talk to God each day. And for me, my testimony today would be, like in 2019, at the start of 2019, I say to myself, I'm going to buy a house. And this is how I do things. I say, I'm going to buy a house in the UK. I want to stay here for a while, so I'm going to get a house here. Yeah. And I put that out there. I also write to God. I wrote that down. I said, I always write and I say, thank you. I said, thank you for this. Thank you for that. And I list everything that I want in the house. I list absolutely everything that I want in the house. And I said, I'm going to go and buy this house at the end of December. Yeah. I work for myself, but I also do work for other people. I lecture. I pick up jobs because, as I said, I like my money. I respect money. I know the value of it. So I can work 24 hours per day. And I was working 2019 nonstop. I was working as a carer. I was running my own business, and I was working as a lecturer. So for the entire day, I was working nonstop. Remember at the start of 2019, I put this out there. I said, God, I'm going to be needing this. Yeah. And I said, thank you for it. I described it and everything. I left it there. I would go home. I would only see my house maybe once per month, like properly. And I wrote it and I put it on my fridge because I love to eat. I am going to go into my fridge. And every time I went home, it'll be for a few days. Every single time I went home, I made sure to sit and read that thank you note to God. And I read it every day religiously. I'm very, very, I'm very organized when it comes to my finances. And this is not to brag or anything. This is my testimony. This is me sharing the power of your mind, what the power of your mind has done for me. And it has done a lot of things that my whole life is because of the power of my mind and the fact that I take on positivity and, lead that up to God. I don't allow negativity into my life. Yeah. Anyway, I said I went home every day. I read this. I got distracted with work. My contract for my lecturing job was going to be finished only of February the following year. And all of a sudden, something said to me, I don't want to be doing this job anymore. And I stopped doing this job in October. Yeah. I resigned from the position. I was working as a carer as well. And I said to myself, I'm going to work as a carer for the entire what do you call it? Straight up for 2 years, so from 2019 to end of 2020. And when I said this, I just said it because I thought, okay, this will work for my life. I sat down, I talked to God about it, and I said, this will work for my life. When I was there I went home in November, I read my list again. I didn't check my bank account because I automate everything. My money knows where to go when it gets deposited in my bank account. I don't have to check to see what's happening, and because I'm focused on working, I'm not paying attention. I would sit down, I would look at houses while I'm at work, while I'm busy. If I get a minute per day, I'd just go and I'll look at houses. I'd check the prices and I'd think, okay, all right, well, I'm saving that much for my deposit. I'm not worried about it because I do see where I can get a house in the price range that I wanted. I kept saving, I kept not paying anything attention. I remember I said to God, I want a house by December. I was working with this lady. When I got with that company, from the moment I met that lady, she wanted nobody else to work with her but me. Nobody else. And all of a sudden, in December, without me even knowing, I got really miserable in her presence. I wasn't happy in her presence anymore. I didn't want to continue working with her, and I couldn't understand why. I just couldn't understand why. But this is because, and this is another thing with me. I'm very bad at, keeping up with dates and stuff. I'm very, very bad at it. It'll be Tuesday and I think it's the weekend or whatever. I'm very, very bad with dates. So I hadn't realized Christmas was creeping in and I hadn't found myself a house. I hadn't even gone to look at one house. Something said to me, check your bank account. I checked my bank account. I thought, I've gone over the amount that I needed to save to buy the house, and I've been over the amount since October. I didn't pay attention. Remember, I resigned from my lecturer job in October. In December, I was supposed to go back to the lady in January. I only had a few days off, and then I was going to go back to her in January. I was still doing my own business. My own business takes a lot of my time. I was feeling extremely drained, and for some reason, I was feeling very unhappy. And then something said in my spirit, you know what it is? You need to do for you now. You need to focus on what you want, what's going to make you happy. And guys, I've been homeless in my life, so buying a house, securing my roots here in the UK was something that was very important to me. But I didn't continue to focus on it. I went and I read my prayer again, and I said, hang on a minute, it's December. We're heading into January now. This was 30th of December. I prayed about it. I said, but hang on, I can't go looking for a house now because I've made a deal with her that I'm going to come back to her in January. Guys, on the day before I went back to work, my work called me and said she's asking me to change my shifts. I'd never had a problem with this lady before, but for whatever reason, my spirit wasn't happy with her again in December. I got up and I went and I said, okay, fine, they do what they want to do. And I got up and I said to my partner, I need to go look for a house now. I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked. And just before Corona hit, on 6th of March, 2020, I closed on my house. I got the keys for my house to move in. On the 21st of March, 2020, I finished moving in. And on the 22nd of March 2020, the coronavirus hit, the pandemic hit. And I live in the UK alone. My entire family is in Jamaica. I was never going to jeopardize my life to go out in Corona and potentially kill myself with my parents not having seen me in a whole year. It was not going to happen. So, hi Romy, I always talk from my heart and I hope that's okay with everybody. So for me, it was like everything aligned without me even pressing the issue. All I did was ask God for what I wanted. I didn't focus on, I never ever do that. What if I don't find the house? Or what if I don't get the money? Once you ask God for something, it is going to happen. And you have to believe that it's going to happen. Now, how do we tie that in with the power of the mind? Guys, your mind is your everything. It is your absolute all. It is your beginning and your end. Wherever your life is going to take you, Your mind is going to be the one to take you there. Wherever your mind, your life isn't going to go, it is because of your mind. Sometimes we don't get jobs, and in our culture, we tend to think, ah, Miss Jones and her children must have done something to me. Stop thinking about those kind of things. Stop allowing those thoughts to come into your mind. I know it's not easy. I know it's definitely not easy, but it's possible. It is absolutely possible. And unless you realize that it's not going to happen for you, different things aren't going to happen for you. I don't want to bring anybody down. I don't want to bash anybody, but there was a time in this group where we were talking, for example, about, the possibilities of the group, and a lot of people were concerned about, whether or not people would, give back and stuff like that. And I stepped away from the conversation. I made sure I didn't check the messages, because for me, I didn't want to think that. I don't have the space to think that, because the moment I allow that thought, I am bringing down the progress of the group. I am bringing down everybody in the group. So when a negative thought comes, just to remind yourself, pinch yourself and say, hang on a minute, darling. I always say, come on, don't start. Don't start. Because I don't have space for it. Your life doesn't have space for it. Your future doesn't have space for it. Whatever you're meant to be in life, it doesn't have space for it. And you can affect everybody else by what you think. When your friends say something to you, your friend says to you, oh, I'm going up to the embassy. And you know in your heart, you know that, okay, this person has never worked a day in their life. They've never, whatever. You might think that they won't get the visa, but you don't know the power that they're walking up to the embassy in. So when they come back with the visa, you'll probably think, no, they had to pay some money, they had to do something. But guys, that's the power of your mind. That is the power of your mind. If you tell yourself that something is yours, it is yours, and nobody can take that away. Because you hand your mind over to God, you hand your thoughts over to God, and you say, you are in control. You are in control, and I'm letting you be the driver. I'm going to be the passenger, and I'm okay for the ride. So the power of the mind, it's all about trusting God. For me, it's all about trusting God. It's all about believing that you are created for bigger things. Everything that God, there's this, I do apologize, I'm not Christian. And I don't mean that I'm not baptized, I'm not of the Christian faith, but my family members are Christian, so I do, connect a lot with the Bible. And, it says that Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, you are created here on this earth. And, God, how do you say? I don't want to get it wrong, but God has, put... You are built with possibilities. That's it. My understanding is you are built with endless possibilities. He created you, he gave you life, and you are therefore put on earth with endless possibilities. You can be anything you want to be because God is that great. Yeah? God is so amazing that if you say, okay, I want to go out there, I don't have the first penny, but I'm going to buy a house, it can happen. It will take work. It will take work, just like positive thinking will take work. It will take a lot of fighting. It will take a lot of correcting your behavior. It'll take a lot of, what do I feed my mind? Yes, I also like my dance hall. I also like whatever, but I can't listen to that alone. I can't be hearing that alone all day. R&B, I can't be listening to all of that all day. I can't be listening to music that's going to be, talking about all the things that don't really set the path for my life all day. There needs to be balance. Yeah, there needs to be a balance that says, okay, good, we've listened to that, we've heard that, or okay, I had a moment, I faltered. I didn't, or think all positive thoughts this morning. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I've been having negative thoughts all day. You late at night, you're going to bed, you pray about it. Let the day be done. You can't take it back. The day's done. You can't, you pray about it, you leave it there, leave yesterday, and you say, tomorrow I'm going to have a fresh start. Tomorrow when I wake up, I am going to start afresh. Tomorrow when I wake up, I am going to start positive. It can be a simple thing as saying, if you live in a house with other people, smiling to everybody and saying good morning. Start with that level of positivity, because I always say I'm scared to live with other people because sometimes I don't feel like smiling, and then I feel that I'm forced to smile because what I do affects everybody else around me. So then I have to be conscious of that, completely conscious of that. And if I am going to, start somebody's day bad with your children, if you start their day bad at home, they're going to go out into the world and they're going to have a bad day. And if they have a bad day, then all that's going to haunt them for the day is negativity. And if that negativity is going to haunt them for the whole day, they're going to bring it back home, and then the cycle continues and continues and continues. And that is a society that we want to move from. That is a society that we want to step away from and say, we have had enough as a people. We've been beaten down enough as a people. And together we're able to say, let's come together and do it differently. We are doing it differently in this group. And I'm so proud of this group. I don't get into the details, but I tell everybody, yeah, I'm a part of this amazing group, a part of these amazing set of human beings, because you're choosing to do different. And by choosing to do different, you've started the journey. So just take that everywhere else that you go, take that into all aspects of your life, every single aspect, to say, if I can do this one positive thing, if I can show up for Delos Building, then I can do everything else just as positively. Do yourselves a favor, dream, write to God, pray to God. We don't have to believe in I do believe it's the same God, but that's my opinion. We don't have to go to the same church. We don't have to be of the same denomination. We don't have to be of the same faith. But whichever God you praise, whichever, holy book you read, build your relationship with God and trust that relationship. Dream big, dream massively big, write to God, and whatever you're struggling with, it doesn't matter what it is, and no matter how small, because what is small to me is massive to you, what is small to you is massive to me. Whatever it is, talk to God about it. If you know that you're struggling with something that's making your thoughts negative, talk to God about it. My thinking is to always say thank you. I always say to God, thank you. This is how my dad taught me to pray. I always pray this way. Thank you for everything that you've done and everything that you're about to do. Most of all, thank you for this, and this. And everything that you want. If you want to say, dear God, I want to be able to walk past John down the road and not argue today, pray that. And pray saying, dear God, I am happy to see John. I am happy to see John progressing in his life. And I pray that John is happy for me too. Don't bring the negativity to God, because I don't think God likes it. Pray for what you want to see. Pray for what you want in your life. God knows what's happening in your life. God is always there with us. God is always there within us. So pray for what you want. Just say out loud and let it be a constant reminder to say, do remember me, I'm right over here. I'm right here. Remember that I want that book. I want that book to read next week, and that book will be presented to you. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Pray as much as you do to whomever you do. Write your prayers, write down your dreams, and don't be afraid to dream, and focus on the positive things. Write down 10 positive things, yeah? And read about yourself, about the situation that you're in. If you're in a situation and it's getting on your nerves, write down the 10 most positive things about that same situation, because every situation, no matter how bad it is, there is good and bad inside of it. So write down 10 or all the positive things that you see in it and start focusing on the positive things, and you'll be amazed at how that bad situation becomes more of the positive that you see in it. Because you're feeding it positivity, it is also going to feed you positivity.
Okay, pleasant good night, my One Connection family. First, I would like to begin with a scripture which is be taken from Matthew 22 verse 37, and it read, Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. So let's get straight into the discussion. So the mind is where our intellect, heart, as in emotion and will, perception, feeling, desire, and our thoughts conscious and subconscious exist. You cannot see the mind, but it is real and governs whether we serve God or yield to the enemy. When God created Adam, he gave him dominion and authority over everything on this earth. Genesis 1 verse 27. He was blessed with super memory, recognition, communication, and decision-making skills. He related directly with God. His mind was pure. There were no obstacle of doubt, fear, guilt, or unbelief until the serpent intervened, which is Satan. Satan knew that the only way he could rob man of his position with God was through the gateway of the mind. It was a strategic move, knowing that the location of the battle with the enemy is vitally important. The serpent did not attack Eve's body. He placed a subtitle attack on her mind. So we are to be careful. We must be on our guard. We must pray to God. We must have faith. Whenever we feel like our mind is being corrupt, we should just pray and block out every obstacle. These are my few words.
Yes, greetings to the One Connection family, and a blessed good night to everyone. So the topic has been placed on the table once more, and it says, how do we win this important battle in our mind? So tonight I will start off by just saying that the mind is a battlefield, and most of life's battles are won or lost in the mind, because what we think about determines who we become. Because Proverbs 23 verse 7 states that so a man thinketh, so is he. Therefore nothing changes until your mind changes, because where the mind goes, the man follows. And you cannot have a positive life while having a negative mind. And if you think positive, then you will have a positive life and also attract positivity, because the Bible states that what you sow is what you reap. So if you sow positivity, then you will reap positive rewards as well. So one of the most important things that we need to learn is how to guard, strengthen, and renew our minds, because the battle always starts in the mind. Therefore, we need to feed our mind with positivity and monitor everything we feed our brain and our mind, because the Bible teaches us to be sober and vigilant, meaning we should be aware of what we say, what we do, and what we think. So in order to win this important battle in our mind, we need to be not conformed to this world and its thinking, but rather be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And we also need to practice gratitude in teaching our brain to shift to the positive aspects of things, where we can identify or pick out the good in every situation, and where we can see and identify the good and the positive in our brothers and sisters instead of focusing on the bad and the negative. Because I personally believe that positive thinking is one of the most proven methods in helping us to win this important battle in our mind. Because the Bible teaches us in Philippians 4 verse 8 that whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, lovely, and good, it says that we should think on these things. So it's time for us as a family to start to think positive and see the good in everyone and every situation, and give thanks in all things and seek knowledge and understanding so we can win this important battle that we are fighting in our minds in order to develop new mindsets as individuals and also motivate others to follow in the same path in becoming leaders and revolutionists where we can unite and work together to change our community, our country, and also the world at large. And these are my views on winning this important battle in our mind. Thanks again to Romy for giving me the opportunity to share. Blessings, One Connection.